Another variation of adding elements is of adding humps. So first let's just draw our mesh. And after making the mesh, I'm going to draw humps on the lines. So again, these are just ideas of how you can make your pattern different by using a mesh and different variations of the elements that we've learned so far, and even by changing the orientation. For example, over here the line is humped, and we can simply add dots in the middle or dots on the line to make it look different. But let's do something different so that you know how to add different kinds of variations. So over here again, you can leave it as it is or do any of the variations that we've done here, like dots or leaves or maybe this star thing. But let's do something different. Over here we have like boxes. Let's make a thick line around the box to outline it. Maybe something like this. If you want, you can draw outlines and then fill it in. However, if you are confident enough in your cone pressure skills, then you can do it exactly how I'm doing it. Increased pressure and slow speed. And you can see how different this grid looks. Another variation that you can do is maybe shade it inside. So again, it's totally up to you. Even in this one, we can shade inside if you want. It's totally up to you how you want it to be. Another variation that you can use for creating different designs is by making a two-lined or three-lined or even four-lined mesh. It's going to look something like this. You have a single line here and another one right next to it. Double lined on this side and a double lined on the other side. Again, with double or triple or four lines, you can use the same variations as above, or you can try out new variations. For example, in this one, let's add dots, but let's add dots inside at the corners of the square. So we've got 3 in this one, 4 here, this is one way of creating variation. Now let's move on to triple line. For triple line, I'm going to follow the exact same technique, draping. Just creating three lines side by side as close as possible to one another. Okay, you can leave it as it is, but again, if you want to add some type of variation, you can do that. Over here, let's do something inside the square, maybe highlighting it with a thick line inside, the one that we did before with the humps. Again, this variation can be done with a double line as well, or even four lines, or even five lines. But try not to do more than four, because once you add in more lines, it does get pretty difficult. For the next box, let's go back to double line and create a few variations with double lines. First, I'm going to draw my double lined mesh. Okay, let's draw lines on the other side. Okay, for this design, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a single line between these boxes. So something like this. We've got a single line here, we've got a single line here, and a single line here. This one over here as well, and one here. And in the other direction, cutting from the middle, like that. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to fill the double lines up. So my double line is here, my double line is here as well, and then my double line is here, and there's one here too. And I'm going to do the other side as well, which is from here. So there's kind of a variation between the thickness of lines. We've got a thick line and a very slim line. So now you can leave it as it is, or if you want to add some more variation, you can probably add dots. Let's add dots on the intersection. Here's one way to create variation with lines and dots. Let's draw another double lined pattern. Again, we start off with a mesh. And just fill these lines up. Again, You can change the pattern by how tight or how loose you make your mesh. Over here, my mesh is pretty loose. It's not very tight. Again, tighter designs require more neatness and more precision and accuracy. So what I'm going to do here is that on all the lines, I'm going to add an, a line in between. Again, you can create more variation. For example, if I had to create more variation in this, maybe I could draw a single line on the sides of the thick line. However, I would do this before making my lines thick, because you can see how when we use draping, it stays on top. But these are again just examples of how you can make your design different or add variation. So for the last box that we have over here, one of the most famous designs that is basically done, it's known as the checkered box. What we do is we create a mesh and then we fill alternate boxes. However, we're going to take this one step further and create a pattern in those checkered boxes. What I mean by that is, I'll just show you in a minute. Let me just very quickly make a mesh. Okay, so one way is just to fill alternate boxes, something like this. Another technique is to make a pattern by filling. How we're going to do that is, first pattern is something like this. So we've got 4 filled and the rest we leave. Like we fill the top one and fill. We leave this line and again we follow the same pattern. Fill this box, fill and fill. Again we leave this row and fill, fill, fill and fill. This is one pattern. You can do something like this as well. So let's give this a go. Over here we fill this, leave one, fill, then we fill this one in the middle, and then this here, and then this one here. We leave this exact row, we move down and we repeat the exact same thing that we did above. We leave this row and then again we repeat. When we have to repeat on the other side, we leave this column and so this is basically how you can create variation even in checkered patterns, by creating different patterns inside.